Get your 1999 to 2018 Silverado or Sierra 1500's front end back into alignment and keep it there more easily with this upper control arm alignment cam kit from MotoFab. Whether your truck is stock or lifted, this is going to keep your camber and caster settings firmly in place and ensure that your truck drives straight and true down the road no matter what you're putting it through. Whether you've lifted your truck or you just work it hard, keeping your alignment in spec can mean the difference between it driving nicely and it being a total bear to control. Now, this has long been a source of contention for owners of Silverados and Sierras. When your alignment gets out of whack, your tires wear unevenly and the truck just drives badly. This kit from MotoFab is going to get your camber and caster angles back in check and keep them there. That is the entire goal. Now, excess camber in either direction will have your wheels leaning in or out. It's going to greatly reduce your contact patch and wear your tires unevenly. Excess caster is going to really mess up your suspension and steering geometry and can just make the truck unruly. In this kit, MotoFab includes 2 sets of heavy-duty steel cams that have these 7 locking holes to lock your upper control arms into place and again, keep them there. You still have adjustment here because you've got all 7 of these different holes, so if you need to adjust things later or if you decide to go for a lift kit, you're going to have that accommodation as well. And you've got new hardware for the upper control arms as well, so you got some thick, heavy bolts here. All this means that you're going to spend more time enjoying your truck with less trips to the alignment shop and less issues down the road with suspension and tire wear. The cams are all made from 3/16 inch thick heavy duty steel. The locking holes and the bolt holes are laser cut, so these little guys are super solid and very resistant to bending and deformation. They also have a black powder coat finish over top for additional protection against rust and corrosion. The kit also includes those high strength 10.9 bolts that we were just talking about and all the hardware to match them too, so it is a very complete kit. Pricing comes in at about 50 bucks, making this a worthwhile and affordable mod for any truck. Now, I am always a huge fan of anything that serves a functional purpose for under $100, and that is exactly what you're getting here. Think of it this way. A trip to an alignment shop is gonna cost 3 times this kit in most places. So this really is a bargain. It's gonna cut down on your time spent taking your truck back and forth to the shop, and it's gonna save you money because you're not gonna have to do alignments nearly as often, and you're not gonna blow through tires or suspension parts either. Installation gets a 2 out of 3 on our difficulty meter, and the job should take you about 2 hours to complete. Now, this is certainly a job you can complete at home. Everything is designed to just bolt right into place without the need for any additional modifications. If you've ever taken suspension components apart before, if you've ever taken an upper control arm off, this is basically that job. You're just adding a couple of little extra things in there. However, if you are installing this yourself, keep in mind that you should absolutely get a professional alignment once you've got it all finished up, just to make sure that the settings are right and they stay that way. With that, let's hand things over to one of our AT customers who's going to walk you through the install process step by step.
You're going to need a 3/8 impact, a 3/8 ratchet, and since somebody's already done this before, they're 2 different sizes, so we need a 7/8 and 21, but it's usually it'll be one size. And you need a wrench for the inside of these by the coil, and then you need the socket for the outsides or the impact. So today we're working on a 2007 Silverado 1500. We will install an alignment cam kit from MotoFab onto here. So first you gotta start with taking off your wheel with either a 1/2 inch impact or ratchet with a 7/8 socket. So we're gonna do that now. Okay, so I'm using a 1/2 inch impact with a 7/8 socket on it. That's what size all the lug nuts are for this truck. You can use a ratchet or impact, it doesn't matter, whichever you have. Just rip them off. Some of them don't like to come off that easy, but that varies. And I think this goes without saying, but jack your truck before you do this. And the next step after this, you'll take the wheel off. You can set it, most people set it on the truck. I'm just gonna roll it out of the way for now. Okay, so now you have the 7/8s on the inside by the coil because you can't get a socket in there. And then you have the 13/16s on the outside with a socket wrench because you can't get an impact in there. And you're just gonna loosen them. You need to hold the wrench as you loosen this bolt, and it'll be relatively tight, but once you get it broke loose, it's pretty easy. I'd recommend having a light too to take this off just so you can see better, whether it's under the truck or on your head like mine. You take it all the way off. And another thing to pay attention to is where this already is. If your truck's already aligned and it already has these on it, you need to pay attention to where these pins are in the actual holder right here, the holder. That's where I can come up for it. Because if it's already aligned, it needs to go back to the closest slot you can find on the new ones you put on, or your truck won't be aligned, or it could mess with the camber. So now when you take the nut off, you just pull these adjusters off like this. You can sometimes, like I said, you need to make sure they stay in that slot, lined up, and if they won't, you need a pry bar to help it. That's fine too. This kit comes with new hardware, so because you're gonna need a hammer to knock that bolt out. But if it doesn't come with hardware, you need to make sure you don't hit this with a metal hammer or anything like that. You need to hit it with a rubber mallet or something like other than that. You'll mess up these threads right here on the front. But this kit comes with new hardware, so we're not gonna worry about that. This truck here has a leveling kit on it, which can put a lot of pressure on this A-arm because it makes it harder, or it's just tighter here in general. So for us to get this bolt out, because it has a lot of pressure on this upper control arm, you take this ball joint out of the spindle, or take this nut. Okay, so after you do all that, or after you do that, you just take your pair of pliers, pull this cotter pin out right here, like that. So you can do it with a little pair of channel locks, pretty much anything, and then you take your 18mm wrench, go down here, take this nut off the spindle up here. Okay, so we took our nut all the way off the end of this ball joint, dropped the whole hub and assembly and everything down. We held it up because it will fall a little farther without something holding it up, so I would recommend a jack or a jack stand, anything like that will do. And we left a lot of pressure off this, so now we just hammer our bolt out all the rest of the way. It'll come out. And you might need to punch it through there with a little bit of something, or you can wiggle it out the rest of the way. Either way works. Whatever will do. However you gotta do it, get a screwdriver through there or whatever. Loose, and then you can pull it all the way out. Okay, so you gotta maneuver it a little bit, but you can definitely get it out with the coolant. Everything's still in. So when you take this plate off, all the way off, and see that's the groove I was talking about on that bolt. You got to make sure that stays lined up. And then this is trash pretty much. The kit comes with everything to replace that. So then we'll go ahead and put the bolt back through and everything like that on this side. Then we'll do this side and then exact same thing on this side. Okay, so now you just do the exact same thing on this side that you did on the other side. Take this bolt off and pull the bolt through. Should be the exact same process over again. Make sure you're holding this wrench so the bolt doesn't turn on the other side. Sometimes this is why you need an impact. It speeds up the process, but sometimes you cannot fit impact in these places. Okay, and then when it's far enough, take that bolt off, take that plate off, and then same process. Take that back out. That one came out a little easier than the last one. That's always nice. And then you can move this control arm up a little bit and get this bolt all the way out. You might have to slide this plate up a little bit on that bolt to get it all the way out, but you never come out without taking this coil out. And there's your bolt. And then we'll get back when we put all the new hardware in. So you're gonna take the hardware they provide you with, you're gonna take this bolt, and it goes in, the head goes in on this back side closest to the coil. You're gonna put a washer and then the plate, and then you're gonna kind of gotta maneuver it a little bit, but it'll go in. You might need a bolt in both hands for this part. However you gotta do is like, it'll get in there. That's all you need to worry about. All right, and you slide it in like that. I wouldn't even slide it in all the way quite yet, just because you got to adjust it and you need to get your other hardware ready too. So I'd stop there. So you're gonna take your plate, put your plate on there like this, and it doesn't necessarily matter right now, because you can loosen the nut up later and adjust it. So I wouldn't, until you put it in the other side, I would not worry about where you're putting it on the actual pin necessarily. So just get it on there. You can take your washer, slide it on there, make sure it stays. You take your new, this is a lock nut. All this is provided in the kit, and then you just loosely tighten it. Don't tighten it all the way yet until you do the other side. So you take the same exact thing you did on this side, so it's the exact same on this side. Just kind of reverse it if that makes sense. So take the plate, get it back there. And it's a little harder on this side to get it in there, but you can do it. And if you have to unbolt it, you might have to move it up kind of like that to get it all the way, or to get it started at least. Okay, so now that you got all this loosely tightened, it doesn't have to be tight. It's probably better if it's not. You can put this put this upper control arm and the ball joint back into the spindle. So take it, you don't need that quite yet. You might need a buddy to help you jack it up. So as you see, he's jacking it up right now. It doesn't have to be all the way yet. Keep going, keep going. And you need to move it a little bit. Keep going, a little bit more. It's gonna try and move a little bit because it's got pressure on it. All you need to do is wait till the threads get to the bottom, that spindle where you can put the nut on there, and then you can go from there, tighten it up a little bit. Keep going. You gotta wrestle it a little bit. There, a little bit more. Okay. Once you do that, you can take this back on there, and you can run that the rest of the way with a wrench, and you throw your cotter pin back in. You might need a little bit of help with a hammer or something like that, but once you get it started and you put this nut on the bottom like this, you can hammer this upper control arm down the rest of the way into the top of the spindle. And you just thread it up all the way. Once you get it to where you can't turn anymore, get your wrench. Get it down there. Try and get as far as you can because this is a pretty time-consuming process with a wrench. If you can't get a socket in, you could probably get a shallow or a short socket in there on it, but we're using a wrench right now. And you get it till pretty much till it's all the way tight. Okay, so once you get this all back together down here, bolt it back to the spindle, up control arm, you're gonna adjust these. I would honestly, if you have a leveling kit, I would recommend adjusting them before you put this back on because it adds a bunch of pressure back when you bolt that back. So go ahead and adjust them before you put this back on. But we got all ours adjusted, they're ready to go. So we're gonna tighten all these back up the same way you took them off. Put a socket on the outside, the wrench on the inside, and just ratchet them down. These that come in the kit, both the nut and bolt are both 7/8, so they're same size on each side. They come in this kit anyhow. So you need a 7/8 socket wrench, or I'm using a 3/8 right here, but a 7/8 socket and a 7/8 wrench. Get it all, and it needs to be pretty tight too. It's not something leave hand tight. Okay, so after you get them all snugged up, torque spec we found for the factory cam bolts or upper control arm bolts was 80. So say you torque wrench to 80, just tighten them down. Then you hit 80. There you go. Make sure. There you go. All right, now we'll do the other side. Make sure it's good and snug. There we go. Double check. And that is tight. Okay, so as you can see now, install's complete. We got all these torqued down to torque spec. You got them set in the pins where they need to be. Pins are set. They're all in the right, correct slot on the actual hardware. So tight on both sides, and then it'll be the exact same side or exact same for the other side. There's no any extra stuff you have to do on the other side. So we'll get this tire put back on and we'll be done.
That's going to wrap it up here for our review and install of the MotoFab upper control arm alignment cam kit fitting 1999 through 2018 Silverado and Sierra 1500s. Thanks so much for watching, and for everything Silverado and Sierra, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.